Today, we're diving into something pretty incredible, the instruction manual that makes every single living thing on this planet unique, and that includes you. We're talking about the tiny, tiny code that holds the massive story of what makes you, well, you. So to get our heads around this, let's start by meeting some amazing people. Their stories open up this really fascinating mystery about how our bodies work. And even though their experiences are rare, they teach us something huge about the hidden instructions inside every single one of us. First up, this is Zion. He's a wrestler with just unbelievable determination. He was born with a condition called caudal regression syndrome, which means he was born without legs. But as you can see, that has not stopped him one bit from chasing his dreams. And this is Carly. She has a condition called FOP, where her body can turn muscle into bone. You can imagine that makes just getting around a real challenge, but she faces it all with this incredible spirit and sense of humor. And meet Levi. His condition is so rare, there are only about 30 known cases in the whole world. It affects the way his bones grow, but he takes it all on with a huge smile because he knows he is truly one in a million. So the stories of Zion, Carly, and Levi, they all point to this really big question, right? Their uniqueness and your uniqueness, it all starts with this tiny little molecule that holds a massive set of instructions. So what is it? What's writing these incredible individual stories for every one of us? Okay, let's dive into it. To really get what makes us who we are, we have to look at the body's master recipe book. Seriously, think of it like the ultimate cookbook for building a person, from scratch. That instruction manual is called DNA. Now that stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Yeah, it's a mouthful, don't worry about it. What you need to know is that it's found in pretty much every single cell in your body, and each cell has a complete copy of the entire manual. It's the blueprint for everything. But how is all that information organized? Because it's a lot of information. Let's try an analogy. Imagine your entire set of instructions is a giant library. We call that library your genome. Each book on the shelf is a chromosome. A chapter in one of those books, that's a gene. And if you look closer, a word is made of a base pair, and a single letter is a nucleotide. See? Library to letter. So let's zoom all the way in. Let's look at the most basic part of our whole library, those individual letters. Scientists call them nucleotides, and they are the absolute fundamental building blocks of you. So a nucleotide is the basic unit, kind of like a single Lego brick. You link millions and millions of them together to build a strand of DNA. And each one has three parts: a phosphate and a sugar that make up the sides of the ladder, and then a nitrogen base. That base is the part that holds the actual information. And that base part is where it gets really interesting, because there are only four types: A, T, C, and G. And they always pair up in a specific way to make the rungs of that DNA ladder. Here's a super easy way to remember it. Apples in the tree, so A always pairs with T, and car in the garage, so C always pairs with G. Simple as that. Now, DNA doesn't work alone. It's got this helper molecule, a sort of cousin, called RNA. RNA's job is basically to be the messenger. It carries out the instructions that are written in the DNA. They're super similar, but with a few key differences. Like RNA is single-stranded, and instead of the base T, it uses a base called U for uracil. Okay, get ready for this, because it's going to blow your mind. If you stretched out all the DNA in just one of your cells, it would be about 6 feet long. So how does all of that fit inside a microscopic cell nucleus? Well, the answer is some seriously impressive biological packing. It's an absolutely amazing process. That long, stringy DNA wraps itself around these proteins called histones, kind of like winding thread onto a spool. That stuff is called chromatin. Then that chromatin coils up even more tightly and keeps coiling and condensing until it forms the structure we can actually see with a microscope, a chromosome. So that brings us to the crucial number, 46. Most human cells have 46 of these chromosomes, and they're organized into 23 pairs. And for each pair, you get one chromosome from your mom and one from your dad, which is how their genetic recipes get mixed together to create your unique one. All right, now that we've got some of the science down, let's connect it all back to those human stories we started with. Let's see how this genetic recipe book gets read and understood out here in the real world. You know, there are people like Jacqueline Haven, a genetic counselor, whose whole job is to help people read and understand what's written in their DNA. And that information can be incredibly powerful, even life-changing. whether it's understanding a rare condition or just learning about your own family's health blueprint. And this brings us right back to Zion, Carly, and Levi. Their unique conditions are caused by very, very small changes in their genetic code. We call them mutations. It's really like having a single typo in a giant recipe book. That one tiny little change can alter the final instruction, and that results in the unique traits and challenges they experience every day. So these tiny little differences in our DNA are what make every single one of us an individual. They create this beautiful, amazing spectrum of humanity. But here's the thing, it's all based on the same fundamental human blueprint. So let's end with this thought. What does it mean that we are all built from the same basic instruction manual, and yet every one of us is so wonderfully and so uniquely different?